What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by No House Advantage. All new users to No House Advantage receive a $25 deposit bonus using the code Awesemo. Today, we're going to take a look at 5 of the best tournament plays on DraftKings, according to Awesemo's Boom Bust tool, where you can compare a player's chances of success to his projected ownership. Starting at the bottom with number 5, Cam Reddish, $3,800 with shooting guard and small forward eligibility, taking on the Orlando Magic. He's a risky option in that there are a variety of ways the minutes can be distributed amongst the Hawks' wings. There's no shortage of options on this team, and if Reddish isn't playing well, he could potentially lose minutes. But at the same time, he's coming off of a game where he played about 28 minutes. He is clearly in shape to get that kind of run. He did it in his last game, and there's nothing really in his way to stop him if he's playing well. Atlanta's been starting Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. That's not someone that really is a necessary piece of this rotation. It's not difficult for Cam Reddish to take those minutes away, and he's facing a really weak Orlando team that makes it likely that he plays well. He's currently projected for 4% ownership on DraftKings. We have him with an 8% chance of being in the optimal lineup, so he grades out as a strong tournament option at low ownership. Coming in at number 4, Dwayne Dedmon, $5,100 center, taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid is questionable on the Sixers side, but he went through shoot around, so my assumption is that Embiid's going to play. That is interesting for Dedmon, and really, I guess it wouldn't matter because if Embiid were to sit, Andre Drummond starts, and it's the same kind of thing. It puts Dedmon in a situation where if he's able to avoid foul trouble, it's likely that Miami wants him on the floor. Miami is also missing a lot of players tonight. They're still without Bam Adebayo. They're without Jimmy Butler. Tyler Hero has already been ruled out. Caleb Martin is out. They only have 10 active bodies, and that includes Udonis Haslem, who we know that they would rather not play. So if Dedmon's able to avoid foul trouble, it's likely that he exceeds the 23.6 minutes per game that he's averaged as a starter so far this year. He's been productive when he's been on the floor. He's averaged 1.04 DraftKings points per minute. He's not reliant on scoring at the rim, so I don't count Embiid's defensive prowess as quite as much of a negative as it would be if that were the case. Dedmon currently is projected for 7% ownership on DraftKings. We have him with an 11% chance of being in the optimal lineup, so he grades out as a positive tournament option. Coming in at number 3, a bit more expensive, Dejante Murray, $10,300 in a fantastic matchup against the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte has been one of the most favorable teams to take players against this season. They're one of the fastest teams in the league. They don't play much defense. And Dejante Murray is having a fantastic season with 1.32 DraftKings points per minute. He's likely to give you 35 or 36 minutes as long as this game's competitive. Currently only projected for about 3% ownership with an 8% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Number 2, Evan Mobley, questionable for tonight's game against Houston. He played to the end of Cleveland's most recent game. So my assumption for now is that he's going to be good to go. We obviously have to wait for that news. It wouldn't be shocking if Cleveland decides to give him the night off against a really bad and shorthanded Houston team. But for now, assuming he's in, we have him with an 11% chance of being in the optimal lineup, only 6% projected ownership. This sets up as a very, very good matchup for Mobley. He's averaged 0.97 DraftKings points per minute this season. He's likely to give you 34 to 35 minutes if this game's competitive. But one thing to keep in mind as well is that Mobley offers a lot of upside from his defensive stats. He's averaged 2.7 blocks per 100 possessions this year. He's averaged 1.3 steals per 100 possessions this year. Coming into tonight's game, Houston has allowed the third most blocks per game and the most steals per game to opponents. So in addition to it being a fast-paced Houston team and Mobley just being able to get more possessions, more rebounding opportunities, all of that, there's also a bit higher projection on his defensive stats as well. And then rounding out the top tournament plays on DraftKings, coming in at number 1 overall, Miles Bridges at $8,100. He's not as appealing an option as he has been in recent games because the Hornets are getting healthier. They have Terry Rozier back. Mason Plumlee's probable to play tonight. PJ Washington is back. But at the same time, LaMelo Ball is still out. And Miles Bridges has been playing a ton of minutes this year regardless. For the entire season, Bridges has averaged 36.7 minutes per game. He's averaged 1.01 DraftKings points per minute without LaMelo Ball on the floor. And he's facing a San Antonio team that ranks 7th in pace this year. So you have two very, very fast teams playing against each other. Bridges' salary has increased a bit, but it's still not at a crazy high price point. All that's really happened is that his median projection lowers a little bit since he's not playing 42 minutes like he was when Charlotte was down to 8 or 9 players. but the ownership has really plummeted, and he still projects as a strong option, assuming he's going to play 36 or 37 minutes at around a fantasy point per minute. There's obviously the upside for more. He's projected for 5% ownership right now with a 10% chance of being in the optimal lineup. So to recap, the top tournament plays on DraftKings as of right now: number 5, Cam Reddish at $3,800. Number 4, Dwayne Dedman, $5,100. Number 3, Dejante Murray at $10,300. Number 2, Evan Mobley at $6,900. Does have a questionable tag. Pay attention to any updates that we get regarding Mobley. And then number 1, the current top contrarian tournament play on the slate, Miles Bridges at $8,100.